Hey guys, I'm X92 and welcome back to another episode of Reading Journal. My random interesting drink today is just apple cider. It's fall, I like apple cider quite a bit, and I can't get it any other time, so I bought a whole bunch of it the other day. I also have some chocolate chip muffins. I try to keep the vibe of this show relaxed, so I bring snacks and drink. We just hang out, talk about some books. So, talking about books, I got like 4 books, 3 manga, a graphic novel, and then 3 comic books. So 4 books, 3 comics, and we'll talk about those today. So I'm gonna just start from the top of the pile. This is Mao Volume 1. This is a manga by the mangaka behind Inuyasha and Ranma 1/2. So, like, classic manga, but this is recent. I think this one started in 2018. This specific volume was published in 2019, it looks like, so it's a recent writing. This specific book is about this girl here who there's something special about her. She died once, and the circumstances are mysterious. Her parents died during that thing. It was like a car accident or something. It's just a mysterious situation. And then one day in, I don't know if it's supposed to be high school or middle school, but she walks through this archway that leads to like a shopping center, and walks into a sort of a whole different world. It's the past. So, like the early 1900s, the early 20th century, and she meets this person, this dude, who is the title character, Mao. It is very interesting. It's hard to tell where exactly it's going, other than the fact that, like, the main character definitely has some sort of mysterious origins that she doesn't know about exactly. And it's not even necessarily her origins, but there is a mystery around the day that her parents died in that car accident. She also sort of died, or did die, I don't remember the details. It was been a minute since I read this. There's a mystery as to, like, also, there's just mysteries and some action and a female lead and this dude who is interesting as well, has his own mysteries about him, and then this, I don't think you can see that very well, but this character here also is mysterious. It's a lot of mysteries and a lot of what's going on, and I appreciate it. I don't know, I'm unsure if I personally will look into more of this one. I can probably recommend it overall, just based off this first volume. It's got some good bits. It's got a Wagdonald's hamburgers in it. Yeah, that's Mao. I think it's pretty interesting. Don't know what to say. It's been a minute since I read most of these, so I don't remember a lot about them. So the next book here is Muyo and Roji's Brew of Supernatural Investigation. This is like an old Shonen Jump manga that I've never heard of. From the early 2000s or something? Let me double check that. Yeah, 2004 was when it came out in Japan, it looks like, but this specific English release is from 2007. And it really does feel, I don't know how well you can see it, it really does look like one of those early 2000s manga. It just looks like this. It's just old. I can't tell what's up with this specific copy, if it's just that it's an identical printing to that first printing, or if this is actually a physical book that is that old. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, it's interesting. I liked this a lot. I found this character a little annoying. This is sort of like the knows everything character, and then you've got his assistant. They run a detective agency sort of thing, but specifically for supernatural causes and supernatural things. It actually comes up and talks about some very complex emotional situations, and this dude is a supernatural judge or something. He has special powers that allows him to sentence ghosts for crimes, for a sense. So you got this volume, I think, has like 4 stories in it. You've got basically 5 clients, and then a special one-shot. It's about ghosts, and it's sort of edgy, but like, it's the sort of genuine early 2000s edgy, that it's not like cringy, it's like actually trying to say something because that was what you did at the time to an extent. Edgy just means on the cutting edge, and so the cutting edge of that time period was sort of taking to task concepts to an extent in a way that wasn't like correct to talk about them, so taking on darker topics that were social taboos. This is actually kind of saying stuff about the things that it's talking about. So I actually do like this one, and I wonder, because it is one of like the older shonen manga. I've never heard of this before, so I don't know how popular it was, at least in the West. This one, I probably will look into this a bit more. I don't know if I will purchase like a volume 2 or not, but I'll probably look into it and see. Like, maybe I want to read more of this. I'm not sure. Maybe I will purchase a volume 2. Who knows? I like what it's doing. I want to see where it goes, and hopefully this guy gets a bit less smug and unsufferable. If he continues at where he is, I don't think it would be fun. So I feel like he has to sort of have a character arc, but that's just my opinion, I guess. So the third thing I have here is Censor by Junji Ito. I believe when this was coming out, it was under a different name, and then when it got this published edition, it was renamed to Censor. This is very recent. This is from 2019. At least it was published in this form. No, originally published in Japan in 2019. So it's really recent, Junji Ito. I love that this came as a hardcover. This is a very quality thing. And oh, I didn't even look at this. The inside of the insert. Look at that. That's probably got some spoilers in it a little bit, but that's really cool. Look at that. But I just was taking it off so you could see the hardcover. Look at that. It's a hardcover book. Anyway, this is a story about weird golden strands of hair coming down from the sky. It's very interesting how Junji Ito takes basically like mundane concepts and turns them into the impetus, I don't know if I'm using that word right, of a horror situation. So taking the concept of volcanic hair that sometimes comes down from volcanoes and making it into the start of something much bigger. This is an experience. I don't want to talk too much about these sort of things because I think this is definitely something worth reading. But basically, you have this girl who comes down to, or goes up to like the mountains and finds this place where there's all this golden volcanic hair that's just on everything. It's just constantly coming down from the sky. And it sort of has attached to the people who live in this area and given them like a special connection to the universe. And that is your starting point, and it just keeps going and going. And not in like a bad way, like the twists and turns this has is great. the art of this thing that shows up in the book is great. Like, the way that it's introduced, awesome. I love that. It's just got these moments that are really, really cool. I don't know how to talk about this without spoiling things. It's just good. You've got the girl who's your first protagonist, and then you have this journalist who takes up the role as your second protagonist, and is the protagonist for most of the experience after the sort of first chapter. It's good, and it's got really good art, as most Junji Ito stuff seems to have. It's got a concept that works and does have these bits that make you uncomfortable, while it also has, like, somewhat, not exactly slice of life, but, like, it just takes place over an extended period of time. So it's not like how you might have a single story be told generally, where it's like you're sort of telling this the whole story, bits and bits here at the time. Whereas each chapter is sort of its own mini story that then makes the larger story instead. And that was sort of how it was when I read Uzumaki as well. It's over there on the shelf. So that might just be the way that Junji Ito does things. I think the only other thing I've read is Uzumaki and whatever the alternate story was in that book. I think there was another story in there. So that's all I've really read. So it's good. Read it. I don't have anything better to say. I don't have anything more to say. Just go find this, read it. It's good. That's the review. That's me talking about it. So up next, if you watched my Costume Quest wrap-up, you already know about this a little bit, but the Costume Quest graphic novel. This is a sort of different spin on the Costume Quest series, where it is instead from the perspective of some monsters instead of from the little children. So these are just some monsters who wander into the human world to try and look for some candy, to prove, to impress some people back home, and to find some candy, bring back some candy, because there's a shortage in their world, Repugia. It's got a really, like, cozy looking art style. Apparently the reason that they chose the artist, the author artist, I think it's the same person, for this thing is this comic they did back in the day around the first Costume Quest that is featured here on the last page. And the people liked it, the people at Double Fine liked that, and so they had him do this comic. So that's pretty cool. I like the art style a lot. It's kind of short. It's not very long. But it does tell a story that's pretty alright. I think if you like Costume Quest, it's probably something that you want to pick up. Again, my main problem is that it is short. It does have appearances of some of the lead characters from the series. As far as I can tell, it features some of the monster characters from Costume Quest 2 in it as well, which Costume Quest 2 has a little thing at the end kind of advertising this a little bit. So I assume they came out sort of together. Honestly, it's just got a really nice art to it. I don't know if I'll read it again. It's kind of short, but I'm sort of a fan of the thing, so I figured I might as well pick it up and check it out, see how it is, and it's pretty alright. So that brings me to the last things to talk about, which is comic books. This is 3 issues of the United States Captain America. I got more of it finally. I figured I'd be talking about 1 issue a month since I ordered it, but no, I got 1 issue months ago, and then I got 3 issues in the same month, pretty much. So there's still 1 more issue, which I believe has come out by now, but has not come to me yet. So hopefully that will come soon. But we have issue 2, which takes Cap and other Cap, Sam Wilson, and Steve Rogers, and they find this Captain America who is a black woman, and her name is Nichelle Wright. That's what her name is. It once again has the thing where you have sort of two stories. You've got the main story of the series, and then you have a little side story that is just about the character to give you a bit more insight into the character. This issue is pretty standard. It has a villain reveal at the end, but I didn't really know who either of the characters were, so I was just like, I'm probably supposed to know who you are, but I've got to look you up. I did actually know who one of them were. It was just sort of, there have been comics updates, changes in the comics that her code name or whatever has changed, so I just didn't know the current one. And then for issue 3, we have this big old Native American dude being a Captain America. And so you once again got your main story and then your side story, but this issue, I thought this wasn't in here. I must have missed it when I was looking. His name is Joe Gomez, and I'm not gonna try to pronounce his Native American name, his Kickapoo name. I don't know anything about the language to even know where to start with pronunciation, so I'm not even gonna pretend to try. So this issue, again, you've got some threats, and it sort of shows you, it's slowly showing you the sort of political motivation of the villain. Again, I think I mentioned already, it's got the two stories. You got your main story talking about the thing, the actual story that is progressing, and then you have your other story. This case, it is an origin story type thing for this month's Captain America being featured. So that is that on that issue. And then in issue number 4, we are finally bringing in John Walker, aka U.S. Agent, at this issue brings in Bucky. He's introduced here. So coming into issue 4, we now have all 4 Captain Americas, or all 4 folks who have carried the name. John Walker is a bit hesitant, but you also get the Captain America from issue 1, Aaron. That's right. You got the issue 1 Captain America coming back, and then a new Captain America named Ariel. And she is a woman of color as well. It's the same sort of thing. You got your main story, which progresses a little. Like I said, there's another dude who's sort of here. He's not shown as a Captain America, but he appears to be part of the group. He's just a U.S. soldier. I'm sure he gets a name somewhere in here, but he's the sort of just a U.S. soldier who is trying to do the right thing. And then the secondary story, it's not an origin story, but it is sort of like it's the exploits of this one character doing some good deeds to help her friend. And then it's got the sort of that, and she is known as the campus Captain America because she's in college. But in these, in the end of issues 3 and 4, they have these sort of like sections where you could have wrote in to get featured, and they honestly feature people with various sort of opinions, which is always fun to see. Like, they're really not just picking people who agree with them. There are legitimately people in here who are like, I don't think you're doing a good job with this story. And they're like, I'm glad you've written in to tell us. Like, it's not like smug. It's just sort of like that you've got a different opinion, and that's cool. There is ability for variance in opinion without major conflict. And that sort of feels like what the end message of the United States of Captain America is intending to be. Because Steve and Bucky and Sam and John Walker especially don't have identical ideas of what's they should do with the name, the whatever. Like, they don't have identical ideas on how to be Captain America and how to do the right thing. Like, what is even exactly the right thing? They sort of have different methods. I don't want to get too deep in this, but there's limits to just a difference of opinion. But, like, for the most part, there doesn't need to be all this, like, attacking one another. You can just have a different opinion. Like, you can agree to disagree in a lot of cases. Not every case, but in a lot of cases. And I think that's sort of the message here, is that, like, there are people out there whose entire goal is the divided we fall. You know, united we stand, divided we fall. It's part of the whole, you know, language of the country, and we're just blatant. It's just being somewhat ignored right now because there are certain people who are deliberately trying to divide for their own personal gain, or, you know, the gain of their group, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, that's my bit on the United States Captain America. Hopefully issue 5 will come, and I can talk about it in the November reading journal. That's all the books I had for this month. I still haven't finished the other books that I'm working on, getting through slowly. I just don't read as often as I used to, so I'll get those done eventually, but these are what I read for this month, and yeah. So, go in the description, links to all the places, you know, click those, do those. Like the video if you liked this, if you didn't, subscribe. Most importantly, leave a comment. Have you read any of these? What are your opinions on these? What's your thoughts on Captain America? What's your thought about Captain America? What's your thoughts about this run? Leave a comment. What do you think about these? What do you think about old school Shonen Jump? What do you think about Censor? What do you think about Costume Quest? Leave a comment. Share the video. Do the things anyway. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.